series, and this particular week we're going to be focusing on livestock production as an economic base tool for the village, and basically looking at the gems under which this system worked and how those gems can be relevant to us this very day. My name is Willard Madzimbamuto. I'm happy that we meet again, and also the feedback is quite encouraging for all the previous presentations that we have been doing. We welcome the feedback. Interact, let's discuss so that no one solutions to all the problems that we're facing today. The poverty crisis is real. It's just that my levels actually are the context in the cities, the context in the villages. But I totally believe that the village model, when properly understood and when the lessons, when they are properly applied in our lives, country living provides one of the many avenues through which we can emancipate ourselves from the shackles of poverty. Now, let's give a brief background of the village livestock model of production. Within the context of the village, we look at commercial farms, small-scale farms, we look at traditional villages in terms of the raw setup. But in all these countryside environments, there is a common thread insofar as livestock production was concerned. Number one, for starters, the traditional hard mashona type. So for every village model, every village setup, there was serious emphasis towards livestock production nekukosheswa kwaiita mombe. Panga kuine mbudzi, panga kuine hwai, panga kuine even huku, road runners in all their various forms. And livestock production was at the very core, the center of the village economic model. Zvaibatsirei, you would check mombe dzaiprovide nyama, dzaibatsira vanhu kutengesa even for the diet. Mombe provide drought power, ndo dzaishandiswa kurima, even crop production, as we shall see as we progress with our series. Rakanga riri basa remombe, zvekuti mombe ndo dzaibatsira kuti vanhu varime vakwanise kuwana kunyange chikafu. Mombe zvekare dzaibatsira nemanyowa aiiswa mukati meminda, which acted as some form of fertilizers. So this was very, very critical, and as we discuss further, you would realize that relationships were based on livestock. The lobola concept, yes, it come into play because of livestock. And above all, which is very important, from that particular system, these were assets that could easily be disposed of for any emergency situation. Saka munhu aigona kuti kana akarwara kana muine mombe maipinda mudanga, immediately azvitore nguva mombe yatotengeswa munhu autonorapiswa. Kana paita emergency in terms of school fees, mukangopinda mudanga, you take a cow, motengesa mwana akutoenda kuchikoro. Kana muine any particular project yamunoda kuita pareserve, mukapinda mudanga motengesa mombe. It was such an easily disposable asset chaibatsira families so that upenyu hwevanhu vairamba vachienda mberi. So you then look at it kuti vanhu vakawanda right now who are in the cities, the professionals vakawanda vatiri kuona, some who are in the diaspora, some who are here locally, they came to be what they are because of the livestock asset yakanga iri mumareserva and in the village model. Saka mombe dzakatengeswa vanhu ndokuenda kuzvikoro, mombe dzakatengeswa vanhu vakarapiswa, mombe dzakatengeswa for various other projects. And chaibata this particular model ndechekuti once they were properly taken care of, dzai multiplier dzega. Saka mombe dzai multiplier dzega, mbudzi dzai multiplier dzega, huku dzai multiplier dzega, hwai dzai multiplier dzega. And the level of wealth in the village, chainze munhu akapfuma, wealth was measured on the number of assets under the livestock production dzaanga ainadzo. Saka mombe kuwanda was a sign of being wealthy, mbudzi kuwanda a sign of being wealthy, hwai kuwanda a sign of being wealthy, huku kuwanda a sign of being wealthy. But overall zvese izvi zvakabatsira kana zvaibatsira that economic model of the village, which was very, very powerful. Zvakabatsira kuti nzvimbo dzive developed, and as well so that other people could achieve whatever they achieved mukati meupenyu. Now, what excites me the most are the critical gems of an economic nature that we can derive from this village model insofar as the livestock production was concerned. At age 5 or age 6, it introduced young people to wealth management. So one of my favorite speakers is a Zimbabwean by the name Max Moyo, who is based in South Africa. He makes this interesting analogy that he became a wealth manager at the age of 6, age of 7. Why? Because at that particular time, all the wealth of the village were placed into his hands and other young boys. So there was this powerful concept, very important, which unfortunately most of us failed to appreciate and to see the wisdom in it. Yekuti at that tender age, as young people were growing, as children were growing up, they were being taught how to manage wealth which controlled the village during that particular time. So the second point, which is very important that we can learn, is this particular model introduced young people, young children, to the system of wealth management and production from livestock even before secular education. What was very important, other gems that were being taught by the village model, was that they should be in a position to manage this asset base. So education, secular education, then took over, and what then began to be taught in terms of quality investment, what was now an extension of that which was very important that the village model emphasized on. Saka zvakawanda zvakadzidziswa or zvaidzidziswa the village model. And the last part, the last point or the last gem I want to share with you, it was all encompassing. So the system of livestock production was not gender sensitive. So vana vasikana, vana vakomana, they were taught even kurima. You check and understand nzvimbo dzakawanda, mareserve akawanda, kumisha yakawanda. Kana vanhu vaenda kumunda kunorima, zvaisashamisa kuona mudzimai akabata gejo, kuona mwana musikana akabata gejo, kuona mukomana akabata gejo. Zvaisashamisa kuona mudzimai kana mwana musikana achikama mombe. Zvaisashamisa because the system was all encompassing. It was not gender discriminatory. Saka in its totality, it taught the girl child how to manage this asset base. It taught the boy child how to manage this asset base. And as people grew up, that's why you'd see in the village, vakadzi, they could manage very well mombe, mbudzi nehuku. Varume could also manage very well mbudzi, mombe nehuku. So this was the concept because it was such powerful in that it was all encompassing. And these were the critical gems that were being taught by the village model. Another critical aspect that relates to the livestock production as a powerful economic tool of the village model is that it has stood the test of time. For those of you who read the Bible, you would appreciate that even you read about Abraham many years ago. The Bible says he was wealthy in livestock. You read about Isaac, his son, wealth in livestock. You read even about Jacob, his grandson, wealth in livestock. Right through the biblical times, livestock was at the center of the wealth systems, not only within the village model here in Africa, here in Zimbabwe, but even in the Middle East there. And even my generations akudara will talk even in the colonial era, livestock was at the center of the wealth system. We even check in our history model reasons for the Shona Ndebele uprising, the first Chimurenga. At the center of it all, wealth production, mombe, mbudzi, wai, played pivotal role critically. But one important analogy that I would want to share with you, very interesting, is this. Tikatora mombe as an example. Mombe as an example. In 1975, that was in Rhodesia when we were still under the colonial rule. Ukatengesa mombe hombe, waiti ukatengesa mombe hombe, same size mombe hombe, waikwanisa kuendesa mwana kuchikoro to a boarding institution. Follow through. Fast forward 1982, 1983, New Zimbabwe independence. Ukatengesa mombe hombe, the very same cow, waikwanisa again kuendesa mwana to a boarding institution. Fast forward 1998, 1999 into 2000, during that phase, that period, waiti ukatengesa mombe hombe, still you could manage to send mwana to a boarding institution. Fast forward topinda 2008 into the inclusive government era, US dollar era, tiri kushandisa muno muZimbabwe. Ukatengesa the exact same cow, waikwanisa kuendesa mwana kuchikoro in a boarding institution. Now fast forward 2020, right now ukatora the same exact cow kuitengesa, still you can send mwana to a boarding institution. A powerful concept. This is an economic model that has stood the test of time, that is not subject to economic dynamics like any other investment that you can think of. Investment in the stock market, investment in real estate, investment in whatever other areas that you can think of. There will be serious dynamics, economic changes. But I want to suggest to you that notwithstanding any economic dynamics in this country that we've witnessed in the past 20 to 25 years, the village model, the wealth system based on rice production, has proved the truest and safest form of investing. Saka check, tinogona kudzidza. The same value 1975 is the same value in 2020. There might be minor variations or adjustments, but zvaikwaniswa kuitwa nemombe muna 1975 ndo zvichiri kuitwa nemombe in this very day. And this is a very important analogy which I totally believe that tikadzidza pairi we can derive much more benefit. A debate can arise, ensue. Umwe anogona kubvunza mubvunzo kuti muri kuti here mombe ne-livestock zvine upfumi hwakanyanya. It's a very good form of investment. I think it's a very powerful form of investment. And figures really don't lie. Let's give again another interesting analogy. We have 40,000 United States dollars. 40,000 United States dollars. We want to invest in two models. Number one, real estate. We also want to invest in livestock. Toti mombe. Saka, you take 40,000 United States dollars in 2020 right now, you can buy a decent house in the high density suburbs. 40,000. Saka, umwe atora 40,000 atenga imba ku location, a good house, durable house, good house ku location. Umwe atora 40,000 atenga mombe. Let's put for argument's sake matsiro aya apedyo nekubereka at a cost of $400 each. Tsiru haisi hombe, it's tsiru risati rabereka. So with 40,000 you buy 100 matsiru woisawa. The same investment with 40,000 you buy a house woisawa. But because we are looking at a business model, a business concept, 40,000 you want to rent a house now. You rent a tenant so that you recover money. The total cost, average rental price in the market now for a full house in a high density suburb, we are looking at a cost of about $300 per month. So 40,000, watenga imba yako ku location, you put it there, you get a tenant for 5 solid years at a rental fee of $300. Assuming everything is constant, 300 no profit, apana loss, tenant arisi kudefaulta, hauna problem yawaita tenant rako riri kubhadhara religiously for 5 years. Imba iyoyo after 5 years, mari yacho tota hausi kushandisa kana cent, yese iri kuungana pa one place, it will come to US $18,000. So today 2020, you buy a house, you put a tenant there, you wanna marry from a tenant. After 5 years, you get to 18,000. Now, let's go to the other interesting part, mombe, matsiru 100. For argument's sake, let's say the first year haana kubereka. Ranga risati ranatsosimba, ranga risiri diki. Rinozotanga kubereka the second year. The law is mombe inobereka once every year. So, after 5 years, tsiru rinenge rabereka mombe dzinokwana kuita 4, zvimburu 4. So, let's look at it. 40,000 in 2020. In 2020, after 5 years, assuming all is constant, umbaya wire investor pakuisa tenant, you get $18,000, which is less than half of the money invested. The same amount of money, 100 matsiru, that amount of money is multiplied 4 times after 5 years. Very interesting and powerful analogy. So kana watoita loss kumombe, I would want to believe kuti pa 40,000 yaunenge wainvesta, after 5 years we are looking kuti munhu unogona kunge wagenerator mari inosvika kuma 170,000 US dollars in terms of value from an investment of 40,000. Now, for you to recoup your $40,000 pa imba yaunenge waisa watenga mu location, you would require not less than 11 years just to get the 40,000 back from the tenant. Now, I would want to believe that this is indeed a wake-up call. Saka, the village economic model was such a powerful system which taught the concept of wealth creation in a unique way. Unfortunately, takatadza to master the concept and the wisdom yaidzidziswa the village model. I would want to believe, assuming kuti munhu wese paakatanga kushanda achibva kuvillage, dai wakatenga tsiri unoti rakawanda 1, and dai tsiri roro rakachengeteka zvakanaka, up to now, you are now vamwe maane 5 years in the city, vamwe 10, 15, 20. This could be a powerful retirement package. Kureva kuti by the time yaunoenda kuretirement after 20 to 25 years, unenge waane mombe dziri in excess of 100. So madhara edu ekudhara were very smart and intelligent in this subject. In as much as they worked in one of the most powerful economic phases of this country, yaichiri yakanaka zvakadaro zvekuti they were mastrike anga ari mashoma, salaries aitenga zvichifamba zvakanaka. They were still able to invest back in the village insofar as livestock is concerned, and they've reaped and they continue to reap maximum benefit to such an extent that even the retirement yacho inoita zvakanaka. And there are various steps that you can take, as I want to challenge you this week. For every child that is born, utengere tsiri. Nyika pairi kuva nema 10-year strategic plan pavari kupa vision 2030, that's for the national, at a national level. In as much as we might discuss, criticize, and take them to task, they are simply doing their job. But at a personal level, this is what I encourage you. Develop your own personal plan, a 10-year development plan at a personal level, at a household level. But isusu as a family, between 2020 and 2030, what is our vision 2030? What is it that you want to achieve? Tikatarisa kumashure, nguva yapera, watapambadza nguva, things are not adding up, but we still have the opportunity to make amends as we go forward. So this is the challenge. For every child that is born, tenga tsiri. This is a powerful educational policy that you can think of. Paanokura kutanga kuenda even to secondary kana ku ECD, mombe dzaanenge anadzo dzinokwanisa kumuendesa to ECD, dzinokwanisa kumuendesa to primary school, dzinomuendesa even to the boarding school, dzinomuendesa right through to university. I'm just challenging you to buy one for every year. It's correct. By the time yaanoita 5 years akutanga kuenda probably for ECD, anenge mombe dzaanenge ainadzo dzinenge dza also 5 to 6. But if you are more smarter and if you are able to plan well and wisely, unokwanisa kutenga dzakati one day 2 or 3 zvichienda zvakadaro. Apart from a powerful educational policy, this will also is a way to create your own retirement plan. Now the trick is, mombe dzako hadzifaniri kunge dziri shoma pane makore ako. Ideally, if everything is according to plan, the number of cattle should be by 2 your age. Kureva kuti as we go forward, this is a challenge that I want to give you. You will reap the benefits. This is the powerful, the most safe and secure retirement plan that you can think of, particularly in Africa, especially here in Zimbabwe. Kana zvemombe zvanetsa, try mbudzi. Your number of years multiplied by 4, at least those who get mbudzi dzavo. Kana mbudzi dzanetsa, your number of years at least multiplied by 10 should be the number of my road runner aunofanange now. I'm just being conservative in my estimations and calculations. But this is a powerful tool, powerful concept taught by the village, which you can apply to this day for retirement plan, for even education policies for our children. And as a result, one disturbing trend that you can discover is there are a lot of people in the city today educated but vari kutadza kuendesa vana kuzvikoro. Vana vari kudzingwa kuchikoro, they can't afford boarding fees. Kunyange vakaenda kuchikoro, kunyange they appear to be educated, vachigona kutaura kunyange nechirungu. But there are other people in the village not that educated. They simply followed this wealth creation model. They are able to take their children even outside the country kuchikoro just because of how they have kept and maintained livestock. And my challenge to you as we move towards to conclude this presentation, the old village focused on the hard Mashona breeds and types. But because you and me, as per our previous introductory lesson, we were sent for exposure in the city to connect the village with the global economy. Your challenge, my challenge, is to improve the breed in the village. Kana kwanga queen hard Mashona, at least let's get to Brahman level. Let's get to other commercial breeds. Kana dziri mbudzi, let's try the Boer goats. Let's try other breeds which are of a commercial value. Kana dziri huku, let's try mabosh, these types of roadrunner types that are coming through. Let's invest in them. This is indeed a powerful tool that can transform our lives at a very minimum cost. Inogona kuva investment isingade mari akawanda zvatinogona kuti tiite zvikatibatsira upenyu hwedu ukaenda mberi. I will end the series on livestock, the power of the livestock unit of the village and how it is relevant today, by sharing with you my personal story, just to try to prove that there is power in this model. Now, at secondary level, I was staying with my grandmother Trikumusha Saka. We went boarding. I ended up boarding Ruya Adventist High School in Mount Darwin. So during the phase, my early 2000s, you can do boarding Ruya. My grandmother was paying school fees to boarding, but my grandmother was not formally employed. She was not that educated other people in as much as she is a trained nurse in Rhodesia, but vakatrainer in Rhodesia as a nurse, right there in Rhodesia into full-time agriculture. This is what I learned, and not wisdom during that time, but as I begin to reflect now, the thoughts, the discoveries really struck me. I still vividly remember, because mbuya vangu vaichengeta mombe vachikama mukaka, saka kumusha kwedu kumarirango kumafarms, pane yatinoti marirango milk collection center, kuti mafarmers ese small scale farmers vakakama mombe dzavo vainotikara mukaka. During that time waenda kudairy board ichitouya ichitora mukaka into processing zvichienda zvakadaro. I still remember ndiri form 3 when I came back after chikoro chavharwa takuzodzokera for the other second term. I took a check at milk collection center yemukaka. That check for 1 month was enough to finance my school fees and also my tag for board. And I still also remember that the production was around 30 to 35 liters of milk per day. Saka come about 30 to 35 liters of milk per day. And after 30 days, vainyorwa check. Yavainzi vaizoenda kunobenka, then uzotora mari dzako. Just 1 month's production was enough to finance my education at a boarding institution for 3 months together with my time. Saka pandiri kuita reflect now ndichifunga kuti if that was possible through an old lady, most of us in the city, we are energetic, we are now more enlightened, and tine access to my resources. Why not reinvest into the same daily concept? Benefit, because the model still remains and the profits can still be derived today. And so, my dear friends, I totally believe in the village economic model as a classic tool to emancipate us from the shackles of poverty. This kind of life yatiri kurarama from hand to mouth. This kind of life yatiri kurarama is not a balanced diet, chikafu chakanaka. You know, it's now a symbol of status. You have this powerful breakfast with fresh milk and eggs and bread, but a properly constituted village model, this is just ordinary. Tea in mukaka with the honey, mazai. It's ordinary. It's one of those things from a properly constituted village model. And this is a powerful concept really that I want to challenge all of us But amongst other things that we are doing in the city, why not try this way? Thank you very much for watching. We value your feedback. Let's interact more, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to like our Facebook page and have Dominion, and also to follow us through on our Twitter handles, Instagram, and our social media handles, Instagram and Twitter, as we interact and move forward. Thank you very much.